Hello viewers, good afternoon. A terrific Tuesday to each and every one of you. I'm Ron Grant. You're watching 284 Media out of Roadtown, Tortola, BVI. The District 7 Community Garden Program is an entrepreneurship initiative designed to improve food security and promote agriculture in the district. The program will involve a cohort of 6 to 10 apprentices who will learn the fundamentals of farming and entrepreneurship. The apprentices will have access to a small lot in Longlook where they will learn how to grow, harvest, and market their produce under the tutelage of Mrs. Arona Foy Forbes, an expert agriculturist and seasoned entrepreneur. Now, the District 7 Community Garden Program is being managed by the District 7 Community Garden Committee led by Miss Roxanne Toussaint. Now, joining me to discuss the program is Deputy Premier, Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries, and Agriculture, and the representative for the 7th Electoral District, Dr. the Honorable Natalio D. Wheatley. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 Media.
The win.
What in the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Gender is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Dr. Wheatley, thank you so much for joining us, sir. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule. Welcome back to 284 Media.
Thank you very much, Brother Ron Grant. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday weekend, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. Let's get right into it. The Community Garden project, that is coming to the 7th District. It's already in the works. Tell us why your committee and yourself, with your support, thought it necessary to really push a program of such.
Well, food security is on everyone's mind, Brother Grant. We know with COVID-19, there were some real concerns about food security and about the interruption of the food supply chain. And the reality is we're very vulnerable here. I mean, we probably import upwards of 90% of our food. So if we're serious about food security, we have to sensitize the public about its importance, and we have to go ahead and train persons and get them interested. I've gotten a lot of interest from persons about being involved in food security and agriculture and fisheries. And this community garden program allows some persons from the 7th District community, but it's a program that we want to expand to other communities, allows those persons to be able to get training from a specialist, Miss Arona Foy Forbes, who worked in the Department of Agriculture for many, many years as the Deputy Director. And she also is someone who's trained in agriculture, has a university degree, and a known farmer in our community, and an expert in agriculture. They'll be able to get access to her experience, her knowledge, and her skills. And they'll have a training ground there in the 7th District to practice and to hone their craft, and perhaps be able to get a plot in some place like Paraquita Bay to be able to develop their business further.
Wonderful. Now, viewers, apprentices must be residents of the 7th District who are either underemployed or unemployed. Now, the pilot will take place for a period of 3 months. In the first instance, successful participants, like the Minister said, will be granted access to a plot of farmland in Paraquita Bay to further their entrepreneurial endeavors. Minister, is registration closed? Are we full, or is there still an opportunity for members of your district who might want to be a part of it to still sign up?
There's still an opportunity. There's been some interest shown, but there's still an opportunity, a few more slots available. This program will be launched actually on, I believe it's next Thursday. So persons want to move very quickly. It's going to actually be across from the Longlook Park, right there in Longlook, close to Brother Enos Pickering's auto shop, better known as Butch.
All right. Now, viewers, for those of you who are watching and still want to sign up and just like the minister said, have an opportunity, the number to call is 443-6161. Minister, you were saying?
Yes, just to say that's the area it's going to be. We're looking forward to it. I want to thank Miss Arona George DeWint, Mrs. Arona George DeWint, who made the land available. And Ron, this is really a partnership between the Department of Agriculture and Fisheries and the community. And we would like to see the Department of Agriculture and Fisheries reach out to various communities within the various districts and establish a relationship with the people themselves and sensitize them to the need for food security. So I want to thank Mrs. Arona George DeWint for making that land available. I also want to thank the Department of Agriculture and Fisheries for they came on site and they've been supporting the project. And I also want to thank also the lead on this project, a real community woman, Sister Roxanne Toussaint.
Wonderful. Now, Minister, this is by all accounts a very noble and worthy project that I think the persons in your district who will participate will appreciate, particularly those, of course, who have an interest in fishers and farming. To date, how much has been allotted? How much funds have been allotted for this entire program, from the securing of the grounds to the actual training? Do you have a number?
Thus far, we've gotten $13,000. That $13,000 was allotted from the fishing and farming grants that were recently given out by government, by the Premier's office for the COVID-19 stimulus. But we're looking to raise some more money, and we're looking to partner with businesses in our community, as well as, of course, myself as district representative. I will make funds available, and also the ministry will make funds available as well. And like I said, this is something that we want to repeat in all of the different districts. I'm hopeful that it will catch on and that my colleagues in the House of Assembly will come with similar programs to partner with the ministry.
Minister, when we look at the fact that you said earlier, which is absolutely true, we import just about 95%. As Minister for Agriculture, what are your hopes for moving forward as it pertains to that percentage of importation of goods and services?
I'm glad that you asked that, Ron. Recently at the H. Laverty Stout Community College, we started an agricultural advisory committee to advise on programs for H. Laverty Stout Community College going forward. We want to use the same model we've used with the solar training, the marine training, with the tourism certification, to introduce a new group of individuals in the BVI to fishing and farming as viable industries and viable means of employment. On that agricultural advisory committee, we had Rotown Wholesale, which is one of our biggest, if not our biggest, food importers in the territory. And they said plainly to us that, of course, we need consistency of supply. And we are willing to take as much of the produce that's grown locally as possible, because it has a longer shelf life, it's of better quality, we know exactly what's going into it, so it's healthier, and it's going to help support our economy by providing business and employment opportunities and the circulation of revenue, which is something that we are in dire need of right now. So what we're doing at the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, we're putting the building blocks in place, because it doesn't make any sense to speak about agriculture and fisheries as a third pillar, or even reducing importation of food, if you're not prepared to do the building blocks.
Of course.
So what we've been able to do is, just recently you would have heard, Ron, that we have another permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, Culture, Agriculture, Fisheries, Youth Affairs, and Sports. And what that other permanent secretary will allow us to do is to put a permanent secretary to focus almost exclusively on agriculture and fisheries, so we can have the administrative support necessary to support the industries. We also, since I was appointed as Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, we appointed a Director of Agriculture and Fisheries who's trained in the area, who loves the area, a young person. We love giving young persons opportunity to be able to take the agriculture and fisheries department forward. We also put Mrs. Tessa Smith-Claxton, who was the former director, into the ministry to provide the support to myself in terms of policy making and planning. And she's been doing an excellent job, Mrs. Tessa Smith-Claxton. So we do have more administrative roles that we have to fill,
okay.
But they've done a wonderful job thus far, and we expect that to continue. I also need to say, Ron, and perhaps I'll need to schedule another interview, I need to sensitize the community about the legislative changes, which are also going to help us facilitate this reduced importation of food. We have a 100-page bill coming for agriculture and fisheries. This bill, we hope to be introduced to Cabinet and then pass, go to the House of Assembly to be passed, hopefully within a month's time. And this is a consolidation of many agriculture laws as well as fishery laws, which have existed on the books, some of them since 1901. So our legislation needed to be modernized, and it also needed to be consolidated because there's several small pieces of legislation. And this legislation is doing exciting things like establishing a statutory body. The Department of Agriculture and Fisheries will be no more. We'll establish a statutory body that will be more responsive to the needs of the market and the needs of the community. And it'll do lots of exciting things like allow us to be able to buy all the produce from the fishers and the farmers and have it at a depot at Paraquita Bay, like a farmer's market that persons can come to and shop for all their organic, locally grown produce. And we'll have fish landing sites in Carrot Bay and Bargus Bay and in Red Bay. And as well in Virgin Gorda, we're looking at places like North Sound, as well as the Valley, Anegada, also Jas Van Dyke.
Minister, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on the progress within the Ministry of Agriculture. I must ask you to speak to residents of our community. During COVID-19, of course, the lockdown, there were many efforts to improve or to start home gardening backyard projects. We want to make sure that residents have not forgotten that and they have not, fallen off on that. As we look at food security in the territory, where exactly should this be starting in order for us to get to the point that we so desperately need to?
I'm glad you mentioned the home gardens. I mean, of course, during the lockdown period when persons were at home, it gave an excellent opportunity to engage in home gardening. And some persons began gardening for the first time, and some of them have developed businesses based on that. And we are very interested in persons in various professions, even your profession, Ron, getting into some gardening on the side. And we want to be able to buy produce from backyard gardens as well when we start the depot at Paraquita Bay. And we're encouraging those persons. We had a competition, a backyard gardening competition, I believe that was last year.
Yes.
And we had some excellent entries there. And one thing that I'm doing, Ron, is persons who win that competition, I want to be able to give them a plot of land in a place like Paraquita Bay. To be able to have their own farm. And we want to do that to provide incentives to persons to be able to farm. And I know we have lots of backyard farmers right now. And we want you to register with the Department of Agriculture and Fisheries. We want to be able to provide you with extension officers who can give you advice. And at the department, we want to be able to provide more materials as well for persons who are getting into commercial farming and backyard gardening.
Understood. Now, viewers, the District 7 Community Garden Program is in line, of course, with the Government of the Virgin Islands' vision for agriculture, which contributes to the economic growth, social well-being, and protection of the natural environment in the territory. So make sure, again, if you want to be a part of that program, you still have time. Minister, while we have you, I have to touch on a few additional items. Of course, the medical school, which we've been hearing so much about within the past few weeks. From your point, can you explain the importance of a medical facility, a medical institution rather, in the territory? How can we truly benefit from that?
Well, I'm very excited, Ron, about the medical school. I'm glad you asked that question. We were able to, the Premier, the Minister of Health, and myself, we were able to meet with the officials from this new medical school who have applied for a license. I'm very proud to say that Cabinet, has granted them a provisional license, and they'll certainly get their full license once they go through all the necessary paperwork and application process, and as well as getting their accreditation status sorted out. But I want to thank the Higher Education Licensing Board, led by Dr. Arthur Richardson, with able deputy Dr. Cal Dawson, as well as persons like Mitzi Ellis Simpson, Mr. John Black, Mr. Andy Bickerton, and I may have missed someone. We had the permanent secretary as well, and they worked very hard. And we also had an evaluation committee, which included, I believe, Dr. Harlan Vanterpool, as well as members of the Higher Education Licensing Board. They were able to take a look at the application, see that it was from a credible institution. This institution promises to have us perhaps at some point in the future, maybe over 200 students. But though they'll start off with a smaller number. And these students certainly will need accommodations. They will need food to eat, and that's going to provide an indirect injection into our economy. And of course, our students here who want to go to medical school, they'll have slots specifically available for our students to be able to study in a medical school here. So we see enormous benefits when it comes to research as well, because of course we speak a lot about medical tourism, but what might even be more prominent for us is medical research and medical education tourism, and persons who come down here specifically to engage in research and to do other exciting things. So we're very excited to have it. I know that we have long spoken about a medical school in the territory, and we're hopeful that later this year we'll be able to make that vision a reality.
Thank you, sir. Now, I must ask, residents are excited, of course, because we recently announced the theme and slogan for a festival 2021. Yes. As much as you can tell us, what can we expect for this year's Emancipation celebrations, of course, in the midst of a global pandemic?
Well, again, I want to thank the Festival and Fairs Committee. They have remain encouraged, planning, and doing all their due diligence. We know we're in a difficult time with COVID-19, and it's a fluid situation. And of course, we have the possibilities of outbreaks at any particular time. But what the Festival Committee has been doing a very good job of is planning for any eventuality. And we are hopeful that we'll be able to have a safe and enjoyable festival. Certainly, we're trying to get the details together for persons right now. Certainly, right now, revenue is a challenge for the government. So we're making sure that we're able to identify a source of funds to be able to fund the celebrations. But there'll never be a time, as long as I'm appointed as Minister of Education, as Minister of Culture, that we'll not celebrate our festival. We'll celebrate it in some way, shape, or form. But given COVID-19, we have to make sure that we do it in a safe way. I believe that we can do it in a safe way. But the Festival Committee will make more announcements about that in the very short-term future.
Honorable Minister, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We appreciate your presence and bringing clarity to a number of issues we have on our table.
Thank you, Brother Ron Grant, and I just want to encourage you and 284 Media to keep doing a good job of informing the community.
Thank you, sir. Viewers, that is all the time we have with the Honorable Minister, but that, of course, is not all the content. Be sure to continue to stay locked to our page and website, Facebook page, of course, and that is, of course, Instagram and Twitter as well, for your daily happenings. There's a lot going on across the region as well as locally and internationally. Be sure to tune in at 6 p.m. this evening, where I will bring you your daily happenings across the territory. Some of the stories we're looking at is the BVI government allocates $5 million for legal fees particularly for the COI. Tiber Health, the Public Benefit Corporation, to establish a medical school, just like we spoke about here in the territory. Mr. Eustace Boss Freeman has been appointed Director of Recreation Trust, and the USVI, believe it or not, Governor Bryan says will be among the last jurisdictions to lift the mask mandate. Viewers, thank you so much, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.